right. Should be good to go now. As we wrap up the week here, we'll be going over the market. No trades from me today, so we'll just be going over the Qs and SPY, looking at the price action that we got today. Pretty interesting stuff, though. Definitely something different than what we've got in the prior 3 weeks, really. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for June 18th, 2021. IWM down 2.4% here. We just closed 2.4%, continuing yesterday's weakness. Qs down 0.8, was staying a little bit more bullish, and then got a little bit of a drop there into the end of the day. And SPY now underneath, getting some follow through here to the downside. Now, the thing with today, and until we kind of got this red bar, we were really range bound on the Qs and the SPY, and then IWM a little bit more of a downtrend here, so the weakest of the bunch. All right, so going into Monday, it's going to be tough to have a strong bias, because you can see the Qs here really still in this uptrend. Okay, but the SPY starting to roll over now on the hourly, and then the IWM is already bearish here on this. So whereas during this previous move up through the end of May, through the beginning of June, they were all, IWM, Q, SPY were all bullish looking. We're all remaining in an uptrend. Different days, one might be stronger than the other, but as far as the bias goes, alignment across the board on these. Today we saw a good amount of divergence here, and we're starting to see a little bit more, especially between like the Qs and the IWM. You know, if Q starts to roll over here and gives up this hourly uptrend, yeah, then everybody will be, all three will be looking bearish. But as we talked about yesterday, this location is not an easy spot to be starting a bearish bias either, okay, back into this congestion, okay? So what are we going to be looking for in order to turn bearish, to start the bearish bias, okay? Anticipating that if we base down here or get some kind of retracement, that's a pretty good time to start the bearish bias. Otherwise, we've already dropped down into support, so it's a tough spot to start being bearish on the SPY. IWM is okay to start being bearish on already. We get the retracement, let's say Monday afternoon, Tuesday, so the IWM is already bearish. Okay, this needed to hold. We broke below it and got follow through. That was what we didn't get yesterday on the SPY, which is why we didn't come into today bearish on the SPY. Okay, Qs is the least bearish, okay, and so we would really need to take out this pivot here, and then we can start looking bearish on the Qs. So this, for the first time in I don't know how long, because the last few weeks have all been bullish across the board here. IWM, Q, SPY, all looking different. All right. IWM, you can see even got some extension away from the 20 MA there. Got some follow through to the gap down. IWM is looking bearish. Okay. We have some support here down into around 215 or so. Okay. It doesn't mean we got to get there on Monday, but looking bearish on the IWM. SPY, more neutral. Okay. Tried to break out, couldn't really follow through, but we're at the midway point here, resistance and support, right? And then especially on the hourly here, good amount of consolidation there to the left, back into this congestion. And then Qs really are still bullish. Okay, we still could roll over, we still could, this hourly could transition into a downtrend, but it's not there yet. Okay, so that makes it tough, all right, for Monday, where we have this kind of divergence. That was a little bit, I think, anticipated, because we talked about how if we do start to weaken, and maybe the FOMC was kind of the first, you know, shook things up, right? That's kind of how I saw it. Doesn't mean it's the start, you know, we're just going to fall apart, the whole market's changed. It did shake things up, Okay. And so, but if we start to do this pullback, it's going to be pretty sloppy. And I didn't think it would be sloppy in terms of the indices would do different things or have kind of go into different trends, but that there's going to be a lot of back and forth. I think that will still be the case. Okay. So it's tough. I think for me, where I feel most comfortable is just kind of a wait and see. Okay. So really, you could also call it neutral. Okay. Now we outlined on these, the SPY and the IWM, what they need to do to maintain the bearishness. And even on the Qs, Qs would have to break the pivot here first, 337, what is that? 337.45. And then you can look at the next setup. And so this one's a couple setups away still, whereas these, IWM and SPY, are pretty much ready to form the setup, IWM being the most ready. Okay, so when it comes to the overall market bias next week, it's going to start Monday neutral. And I think Monday, hopefully we can get some clarity. Now, it could be that going into next week or even going into the next, I don't know, until the next earnings season, that the IWM, Qs, and SPY just do different things. Maybe energy financials are going to dictate what the SPY does, and then tech is going to do their own thing, and then a lot of the small caps are also going to do something different. So it doesn't necessarily, I'm not waiting until they have to all line up to have a bias, right? But right now we are starting to see some divergence. So it's easy, right? It was easy when it was moving up, at least to have a market bias on what the Qs, the SPY, IWM are doing when they're all trending up. But now that they're starting to give us different pictures, I'm going to wait and see. If they do line up again, then that'll be fine. That'll make the market bias that much easier. But for now, going to be a wait and see, okay, come Monday. So neutral for now, and we went over the reasons why. We also went over what we would need to see in order to start the bearish bias on these, okay? All right. That's going to do it for this week. Going to do it for today's market wrap. Hope you had a nice week. Hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday. Have a good evening.